Welcome back, welcome back. Today we're gonna finish illustrating or coloring in our character we drew, MV from Inside Out 2. So find your illustration on your iPad in Procreate. I'll be using Procreate for the entire process. I'll be using one Procreate brush. It's an inking, it's called Ink Bleed. And it has fun texture, just like the characters do. Kind of that, they have a little bit of a soft looking feel to them. Not sure what exactly that material kind of reminds me of, but I feel that Ink Bleed does a good job of representing that. For example, her cheeks are purple pink. And if you hold your pencil off to the side and just lightly go over and bring down the opacity, of course, it gives off that same texture. So that's why I chose this specific marker, or brush pen, I should say. If you choose a different one, that's totally fine. Marker also has that texture, but I find when using marker, when you overlap, it adds more color and depth. So that might look a little tricky. It's kind of like a water-based marker, not an alcohol-based marker look to it, which is also fun. So if you prefer that, that's totally cool. What else can you might use that has a little bit of an edge? A lot of people like to use also dry ink. It gives more texture even within. If you like that one, you can use that for your illustration in Mercury. But also, just like just the same as the marker brush, Mercury has an overlap to it. Just a little bit, very slight, but it's there. So I personally don't want to use that for that reason. But if that doesn't bug you, then go for it. What else we got? We got Inca. This looks more like a dry brush, so you might have to go over it a few times to cover the middle, but also has that fun texture on the side. That one doesn't work for us. And let's see, Tinderbox, one more. Same like the marker brush, when you overlap, it gets darker. So you might have to overlap it a few times, but also has that fun texture. So whichever brush you go with, or you want to try to use and learn to use, go for it. I will be using the Ink Bleed marker. Opacity is on max. Let's begin. So here's my sketch. I am going to bring down the opacity a little bit, about 50%. Some people, just so you guys can still see it on the iPad, I'm going to bring it down to 50%. Most of the time, my opacity is down to between 20 and 30%. So it's up to you. Whatever's easier. I'm going to start off by outlining the head. If you've found a poster or a picture of Envy on the internet, you can save the image, bring it in as a reference. You can do this by tapping your wrench icon, canvas, tap on toggle on reference. It'll open up, and then tap image and tap import, and it will take you to your photo gallery, and then you can choose the image you would like the reference to be. And once it's in your reference, you can tap and hold and choose the exact color you like to use. So if you have a hard time with picking colors, that's a great thing to do. I prefer to choose my own colors, so I'm just gonna use the color picker. Let's get started. The face. It's a nice light turquoise. I think that's good. How about there? I'm on the correct layer, and I got the correct brush. For layers, to keep them organized, we can name them. So let's name this face. And let's begin. So I'm gonna bring my brush is about 18%. I'm just curving where the hair is, and pretty much just outlining my character's face. And I want to use the same eraser brush as the brush I'm using for drawing. So I tapped and held the eraser and automatically chose the same brush. So if I click on the eraser, it says ink bleed. Just so that when I erase, it gives me that same texture. And now I outline my face, I can just color drop. Color drop in my color. See, now sometimes people don't like this as they cannot see what they've drawn. So a good trick, what you can do is bring up the layer, the drawing layer. I'm just gonna rename it drawing. Or sketch, you can name it, and bring it to the top. Like so. Then you can still see the face on top. And one step further you can go is change the blend mode to multiply. Then it'll be even more clear without it being full opacity. So those are just some extra tips and tricks. And then when we're done with our illustration, we'll just turn that off and you'll just see your color. So let's keep going. We got the face. I'm gonna zero in on the eyebrows and the hair. I want on 2 different layers. So let's name this eyebrows. And I'll add a new layer right away that's called hair. So let's go with the eyebrows. The eyebrows are similar to the color of the hair, but a little bit darker, so that dark teal. So you can color drop, color pick, I should say. I'm gonna bring... Ooh, looks like it's all the way down here. It's kind of that greeny color. Maybe I need it to be a little bit more blue. And now, oops, no, eyebrows. Zero in on my eyebrows. Looks great. My 2 eyebrows, beautiful. And now let's jump over to the hair. Now we need the hair layer to be above the face, but below the eyebrows, because if I need to choose a different color so it's clear. If I color over, it'll cover the eyebrows. We don't need that. Bring it below. Let's go back to this. That looks good. And I need my hair to connect here at the bottom, so I can just color drop. Beautiful. And bring my face above. There we go. I need my hair even below my face so I can see my face. So you got hair, face, eyebrows. Looking great. Now the hair has a lot of details. It's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit darker. It's kind of a mix between the eyebrows and the hair. So we can add in that detail very easily. And one step further, tap on your hair layer, tap alpha lock so that you can't color outside of the hair. And you can add in these lines without worrying about going outside what you've already colored in for hair. And then I'm going to draw and choose a very bright looking teal green and add it up top here. It's almost more blue compared to the face, so less teal or more blue. Almost like a baby blue. and just add in some details. And I'm going to turn off my sketch for a second just so I can see that better. I can even bring down the opacity to 50 so it's lighter. There's a little bit in here, on the bottom. So I'm adding lots and lots of these because we'll go over again with that dark teal and the original teal of the hair. So you can grab that original color and keep adding my waves. And it gives that texture look to it. Grab that dark kind of green almost. I'm going to bring down my opacity to about 30. And continue adding the waves of her hair. And I'm going to change the size of my brush. Oops. My brush size to have some thicker strands, thinner strands, to give it more dimension. And look at that, we're looking great. And you can continue to add more dark. So for example, that darker teal or that green that we're using right now, bring up the opacity about 70. I'll make my brush 100%. Opacity is about 60. And just around the face, very lightly and slowly, actually bring the opacity to 30. Add some shading, because where the hair meets the face will be a little bit darker. And back here will definitely be darker because it's behind her head. Like so. I'm just following where her face line is. That's looking beautiful. Okay, turn my drawing back on. And I need to add more details on the face. So let's begin with the eyes. I'm going to choose pure white over here, but maybe a little bit up. I'm going to move it up top a little bit so just it's a little bit has a tiny tint of blue, but it's still white. I'm on my face layer. Bring my brush opacity up to 100, brush size down. I have it about 13. I'm outlining my eyes here. And I'm just gonna color drop. Whoa! If I color drop and it takes over, it means my threshold is too high, so it's at 81. Without picking up my brush, I'm going to bring it to this side. It's at 100 now. And bring it down all the way to, mine says 30. And then it colors just within that white circle. So sometimes you have to do that. Another reason why the white would have gone everywhere is because there's some sort of gap in your original oval. I have a little bit of an outline here, so I'm just gonna color that in. And again, that's just a threshold problem. So I'm gonna color drop. You can see that line. Hold on, I'm just gonna zoom in so you can see it better. Color drop. I did not pick up my pencil. It's at 38. You can see that line. If I go to 40, oh, 50 is too high. 48 is okay still. I let go. and that gap is gone, just a little bit here. Something to consider when color dropping. Next, we got our pupils. Our pupils are like a dark blue. I'm gonna bring this hue color about here. Zoom in to compare. Oh, that's still too green. That looks about right. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. And now I will outline the pupil. Color drop. If you have that line, just go over it. That happens with texture brushes, pretty normal. Or you can just quickly color that in. And now the top is a little bit darker. But because our pupils are on the same layer as our face, we can't enable alpha lock with it. Well, we can turn it on. We can definitely turn on alpha lock, but the color will still go into the eye and the face. So let's just go back. And just for the pupils, let's create its own layer. Pupils. So I got the same color. Outline it. Color drop. Outline it. Color drop. And as you can see, up top it's much darker than the bottom of the pupil. So what I'll enable alpha lock, and I will choose a darker color that looks like it's almost black, but it's not. Brush size max, opacity down to 30. And because I have alpha lock on the pupils, I can go like so and add some darkness. Because my opacity is at 30, I'll stop about here. I'm about 70% down and go back up. Then I'm going to zoom in and go over a few times up here where it's really dark. And about halfway, it starts to really lighten up. So I'll stop there. You can also color pick the old color, the original blue color, and do the opposite and go up just to blend it a little bit more. What also we can do, because it's on its own layer, we have alpha lock turned on, you can use Gaussian blur. So tap on your adjustments, Gaussian blur. It's at 0%, so I'm slowly going to move my finger across. 1%, 2, 3. We don't want it max, but just enough to blend those lines. And I think 3 to 5% works for me. And leave it at 5. So it's nice and blended down. You can still see those lines, so you can add Gaussian. Oh, wrong one. Gaussian blur. A sec. Oh no, I turned on gradient matte. That's okay. Back up, back up. There you go. Gaussian blur. There, that looks better. But I lost some of that darkness, so what I'm gonna do is just color over top again. Bring my opacity to the top and the top part, and Gaussian blur one more time just to blend it in a little bit. That looks good. No, that time my Gaussian blur I brought up 10%. So depending how much color you added, it could change for you a little bit here or there. So on the pupil, we can add in eye details. If you're too nervous to make a mistake, just add a new layer and you're good to go. Bring my brush size down. There's more on my one highlight, my second highlight. Bring my brush size down to about 3. And just every once in a while, I turn off my drawing sketch so I can clearly see where the color is. There's another one here. And now these smaller circles, I'm going to bring down my opacity to about 10%. And I can add that details here. Oh, 10% is a little too low. Let's go up to 30. There you go. You can still see that. So about 30%. Now, the more you go over, the more opacity you will gain. So you don't want to go over it too many times. Woo! And color drop won't work because your opacity is so low. Like so. So you can add as many details as you would like, or you can leave your eye as is. Don't forget to bring your opacity back up, oops, to fix up any mistakes or corrections you have to make. Those eyes are looking great. Beautiful. Sketch layer back on. What do we need? We need the iris. It looks like it's more of a green color. Yeah, so that looks good to me. I'm going to go back to my eye layer. And again, you can add a new layer because there's a gradient to it as well. So it'll be easier to add gradient color to it and blend it if it's on its own layer. So I'm just going to turn off now the eye is supposed to meet the side, so there should not be any white there. So what we can do is, because we have the pupils and layer 7 on its own layer, I will select layer 6, the detail, the pupils, layer 7 of my eyes, and bring it a little bit closer to this side so there's no white showing. This eye got moved, but what we can do is select. So all 3 layers are still selected. Selection tool. I'll outline that area. Transform tool. Oops, don't make it bigger. Just move it over so it matches the other side. If it's bouncing too much when you're trying to move it, just turn off snapping. And then you'll easily be able to move it wherever you need. Like so. Beautiful. Fixed. Now let's grab that darker green. Here's your history of colors and add some details to the nose. So I'm going to tap on face. That looks about right. Bring down the opacity to about 30 to add in some extra details. Some more freckles, bring it up to 50. Not all freckles are the same color. That looks good, I like that. Okay, turn on my drawing. And now we got the mouth. So, to draw the mouth, I will grab this darker green. Brush size around 10. And outline it. The middle, like the mouth is technically, it looks black. That's why we can see it with a little bit of highlight on the bottom lip. So the bottom lip, I'm going to select that color of the face. And just add some highlight here for the bottom lip. And then the inside, super duper dark green. Ooh, darker green. Maybe even darker. Color that in. Oops. Even darker. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Always make sure you're on the correct layer. Let me back up here. Okay. I'm on the face layer now. Now, there you go, that's black. Okay. Choose that dark green again. My mistake. I'm on the right layer, face. Color, drop that in. Turn off my drawing layer. Now, we need a red tongue. Oh. There you go, I like that color. And some highlight for where her mouth, bottom lip is. Like so. So you can clearly see her bottom lip. Her upper lip is quite dark. And her tongue meets this lip. Like so. Choose that color. Make sure this blends into the mouth. And then with my smudge tool, using the same brush, ever so lightly, I'm just going to smudge this out a bit. As that shadow. You can even choose that color now and just add it in as shadow. And if you zoom out, you'll be able to see how it looks. Does it look good? Do you want to change it? Do you like it? So we need to bring in that shade like so. And because you're drawing on the face, you don't want to tap on the eraser to erase, because then you can see the color in the back. What you want to do, in order to erase a little bit, choose the same color and just color over it. Just bring down the opacity. Like so. And it's fixed. Easy peasy. Next, let's get into the body. Oh, we forgot her clips. We can do that after. Her body. So we got that purple dress. It looks like pink and a reddish magenta pink. Oh, we forgot the purple for the cheeks. Still on face. Grab a purple pink. Opacity to about 30. Max brush size and just slightly go back and forth. Oops. Also turn on auto lock, so it doesn't go on my hair. You don't want that. And I'm going to turn off my drawing so I can see exactly where my blush is going. Her cheeks. And it looks like it fills out the bottom of her face and even goes up. Beautiful. So the outlines here and down to the bottom of her face, same idea. And if you think it's too strong, you don't like it, grab the smudge tool. Make sure the opacity is down. And you can blend it in into the face and it'll look great. If you still don't like it, it's too bright, just grab the original color of the face, opacity is down at 20, and just go over it super lightly. Not like so, off to the side. I'm loving this. Turn on the drawing again. And let's go in on her body. So I want her body to be above the hair because right here is her turtleneck, or her pink magenta turtleneck. So grab pink color. So I'm gonna put neck. You want the neck and the body and the legs and the shoes all in different layers. So you got neck, body, leg, shoes. So neck we want above the hair and behind the face. We want the legs to be at the bottom. Your body, let's put that at the bottom. That'll be her dress, I guess. And the shoes. We want the shoes above the legs. We want the body or dress also above the legs and the shoes. And then we'll put her hands on the very top because it overlaps her face a bit, or meets her face, because her hands are in front of her face. So therefore we want it in front of her face in all these details, so we can put hands. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we'll draw in her arms on that same layer, so they'll be easy to add in this detail. So let's begin. Where's our neck? Neck is here. We got our color. Bring the opacity up, brush down. Like so. But see, if I draw here, it's behind the face. You can't see it. So you don't have to worry about that, as you can see. If I make her neck too big, it's okay, because her hands will cover that. Her hands and shoulders, I should say. Body, we need that purple. Let's grab a purple. Oh, this purple's hard to find. So let's try color picking it. Where does it go? Oh, it's like a blue purple. That's why. Look at that. It's a blue purple, you guys. I'm gonna make mine a little bit more purpley though. Yeah, that's good. So the dress comes all the way down here from her neck and around. So out of all the new characters, which one do you like? And out of the old characters, let me know which one you like. Or better yet, tell me which one we should draw next. That'd be great. Let me know in the comments. So we got her legs and her shoes. So her legs are like a pink, like the neck, but a little bit more deeper. Make sure you're on the right layer, everyone. And if you go below onto where the shoe is, that is okay. Because our shoe layer is above, so it'll cover that mistake. So it's okay. Wrong layer. Clear. Legs. There we go. Okay, so we drew the legs. Now let's do that boot. Shoes. And it looks like the dark kind of green teal from the hair. So I'm just going to go up here, turn off my sketching layer, and grab that dark green teal. Turn that back on. Make sure you're on the right layer. Maybe bring down my brush size a bit so that's easier. Now this time I didn't go all the way around because I don't want to cover the leg layer. So I'm just outlining and coloring in. And now grab a little bit of a deeper, the same green. Turn on alpha lock. And let's add in the detail. So we have a bit of a line here. I can even turn off drawing guide to make it easier for me. And bring down opacity just a little bit. Turn that off. Alpha lock's on. Opacity down. Opacity is about 20. Actually, now I need it at 100 for this bottom curve. The rubber, the little detail. Bring it back down to 20. Just to add a little bit of darkness back here. For the shading. Just a little bit so it's easier to see. To add in shading later where it starts and ends. And then the inside of the boot is also dark green. So opacity back up. Brush size down. So you're just drawing half a circle around the leg. opacity out. Oh no, let's do the bottom of the boat again. Kind of where that rubber, the bottom where the shoe is. Opacity back down to 20. And max brush size. If that's too light, bring it up to 30 so it's easier to see. And the back here will be dark from the shadow. Like so. It's looking awesome. Let's do the arms. I just need to fix this. Oh, that's why. I did not notice that earlier. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sketching layer back on. Body, hands. Let's do this. So I'm going to select this color, purple, and just make it a tiny bit darker. Just a tiny bit darker. And now, maybe a little bit more darker so we can clearly see it. Brush size is around 6. I'm going to outline the sleeve of my drawing. Turn off my drawing so I can see it. How did it turn out? Great. Just connect it here a little bit. Beautiful. And that line looks almost black. So if you even grab a dark purple, that would be that detail. Turn my drawing back on. And now, here's the hands or the sleeves. Here's my dress. So I'm gonna go back to my body where my dress is. You want a purple that's lighter than the sleeve, but darker than the dress. Just kind of in the middle between the two. Max opacity of the brush size. Opacity 20. And just around the dress here, we're going to darken under the sleeves. Okay? So that you can see it truly separate and give it some dimension. And I'm slowly adding more and more of that shadow. Because my opacity is so low, it'll take a little bit longer, but that's okay. I want that, so I have more control. Okay? So now you can see that clearly. You want to make sure also that you don't go over the lines by turning on alpha lock. So I made that mistake. I'm gonna back, undo, alpha lock. You don't have to worry about going outside the dress. I see we got that shadow here. Perfect. It's looking great. So now you can clearly see everything. Let's turn on that drawing one more time and draw in our hands. So our hands are a little bit deeper, a different color. You can clearly see them from the face. Plus they're under her chin, so they're a little bit darker. You can tab and hold to get that same face color. Just make it a little bit deeper. Bring it down just a tad. Make sure my brush size is not too big. Opacity's at max. Let's rename this arms, hands. There we go. And now outline these fingers. Oh, brush is too big. Now this is where it gets a tiny bit tricky. I'm just going to turn off my face layer and my hair layer so you can see my hands clearly. Make sure you're on your hand still, the layer. And now as soon as I color drop, it'll all look the same. It'll be hard to differentiate. So let's add in these darker lines. So that we can see where the fingers separate. So first, color drop everything or color it in. Then we'll turn on auto lock, add in the details. Because if I turn off my drawing, it just kind of looks like a blob, right? I mean, that's not good. We don't want blob hands. So let's turn on the drawing guide again and just grab a little bit of a deeper color, small brush, and add in just a few lines. So the finger curves around here, finger curves around here, and here, and here, and on the outside here. And then the thumb also is a little bit outlined. And because it's behind all the rest of the fingers, it's a deeper color. Let's turn off our drawing guide. Can you tell that this is a hand, yes or no? Let's just add a little bit of layer here. I'm gonna make these a little bit longer. Grab the original color of the hands because I can't erase. I'm just gonna add more color to use. I'll use color as the eraser. Connect these so you can see these fingers. It's looking good. Here you have the light hitting it, so it will be lighter. Perfect. And now the wrist down here, it's darker. So you can kind of see the separation of it. Like so. Okay. And then just a little bit more darker for this wrist. Because it's definitely in the, has no light touching it. Like so. So when you zoom out, now you can see it clearly. If we go back to our arms, pick that original purple, make it darker. Make sure you're on the right correct layer and color that in. Now, deeper than the shading here and this outline color, but lighter than the shading in here, we need to color this in. Just a tad, so you can see all the details and then differentiate everything. This looks amazing. Let's turn back on our eyes, our face, and our hair, and look at that. It looks awesome. Let's just add in a few more details to the dress layer or the body layer. I'm gonna use a super light purple instead of white. Make sure it's on auto lock. You can either see the checkers or that check mark, and maybe a little bit lighter. Add in polka dots. You might have to jump over to the arm layer to add some details of polka dots on the sleeves. If the dress is too low, you can draw it up higher so you can see less of the neck. But we're looking great. Last thing is just those clips. So I'm going to grab that same color as the legs, turn on back the drawing. And the clips need to be on top of the hair layer. So I'm just going to add it to the arms. One clip. And they're chunky, fun looking clips. I'm going to turn off my drawing layer so I can see everything. It's looking great. I'm going to go back to the hair and pick one of these colors and add some of the frizz. Make sure you turn off alpha lock now. I could actually erase that out. These ones came out kind of funny. Make sure they're curved, it'll look more natural. And we can add some using the eraser, same brush, and add a little bit of separation here. Kind of like you're drawing in, but erasing some hair strands to give it some more detail. Kind of like here. Just make sure your brush size isn't too big. And if you don't like it, just tap undo and it'll be okay. I'm just gonna add in one there like so. Beautiful, fantastic. We have our very own MV to add in more details into the eyes. Find your face eye layer, and it looks like it's black. Very small brush, 3%. Just add in that shadow outline. Same on this side. If you do too much of the black line, just grab the color of your eye and erase it by coloring it in. Or maybe you'll need to grab the face color to make it a little thinner. Like so. I'm very happy with this. You can add whatever color background you would like. Make sure you add a new layer, put it to the very bottom. And I kind of want to make mine orange. Maybe that's too intense. A light orange, there we go. I chose orange. You can go with a light teal that they were using, like our face. But I'm gonna stick with the orange. I'm excited to see your results. Let me know how this went. What character should we do next? Hope you had a lot of fun. If you have any questions about Procreate or something just went wrong for you that wasn't working out, let me know in the comments. I'll be able to make another video on top to show you how to fix it or what you could do different. I'm excited to see your creations. Tag me on Instagram. See you soon.